All right. I'm just gonna tell you right off the rip. I knew this was dead on arrival once it got released. I don't say that. I know like my haters like to think I just say that about every movie. No, no, no. Everything looks bad about this movie. Everything. And it was a needless change. They were doing a live. I'm not sure who asked for a live action Ariel. It would be. Look, this is what it is. Or live action Little Mermaid. This is what it is. The only people that this is going to appeal to is to the people who like myself grew up and maybe had to watch this movie, and now people that are my age are having children, and this is something that they would kind of, because this means something to them. Maybe they would then go take their children to go see that. Okay, now they're seeing a bizarre kind of weird version of it. Tokenization aside, we already know, yes, a tokenized area. It doesn't make sense. It's based on a Danish fairy tale, which is pretty white. Even though, yes, Disney, in terms of their Little Mermaid universe, has had other mermaids that were of different colors or whatever. But Ariel, not that. They wanted to go with the black Ariel. They're leading with the fact that she's a black Ariel. She can't stop talking about it, which to me tells me the studios said this needs to be your prominent talking point when discussing this movie. And they're continuing to double down. And this is going to make this movie do very bad. As reported right here by Shield Media, Screen Rant. How Little Mermaid remake is more progressive by New Area. Now, Little Mermaid star, as it says the original features some slightly anti-feminist messages and promised the new version will be a lot more progressive and reflect modern feminism. This is what she said. This is what the star of it said, Halle Bailey. What's beautiful about this version of The Little Mermaid is that it's a lot more modern. Look, man, anytime we hear this when using old media, stuff that already exists, stuff that probably already has a baked-in fan base. And again, I'm not pretending like I was going to go ever see this. It didn't matter even if they did it just. I have no interest in seeing it. I'm just telling you this is par for the course for Disney, and this is what we're seeing a lot of in terms of pretty much Hollywood in general. The whole modernization, right? They're trying to update this for modern audiences, which just means bastardization. That's all it means. It says when we saw it when we were younger, she gave up everything for a guy. But I don't think that reflects modern women today. So now it's more about Ariel fighting freedom for herself because of this world that she's obsessed with. Prince Eric is a cherry on top, but it's not all about him. Says the Little Mermaid remake is seeking to update the original animated movie and the iconic character of Ariel for modern audiences. The overarching message of the original movie didn't exactly reflect the values of modern feminism. Ariel gives up her voice and changes her mermaid body for the man of her dreams. And that is a crime these days because they don't need no man. Go for it, man. Like I don't make this stuff to act like I'm mad at this. Like I said, I wasn't interested in this anyway. Not like I was hanging up Little Mermaid posters or something. In my room or something. This isn't like what I felt with like Marvel or DC. This is funny in a sense because these guys are gonna keep doing what doesn't work, and so we'll just keep calling them out for it. But they're gonna keep doing what doesn't work, and we're laughing at them. There's no need to get mad. There's bastardization. Yeah, it's ruining for maybe some of you, especially a lot of young ladies out there who are having children. Maybe they look at it and probably have a little more attachment than I do. But it is what it is. This is par for the course for the modern age. And by the way, let me just be accurate. This was on The Face. A new profile by The Face. Bailey opened up about the Disney live action. So if you want to go check that out, you can. Where she talks about a lot of this stuff. Let me see if I can go back here. Halle Bailey knew that as a black woman, her presence would add extra significance to her role in The Little Mermaid. And there she is. So as I mentioned before, I already talked about this the other day. the whole self-importance. You know, she's taking it upon herself to be like, hey, well, I'm doing this for the little kids and the little, even though she was such a fan herself, but she says as a black woman, it's a little more meaningful. Now little black girls can, I guess, and she actually said black and brown boys watching this can now see themselves, right? They can feel inspired. They can do it. Like, man, these Hollywood guys and how important these folks feel that they are, that, hey, look at me, because I did it, you can. And, you know, it's so shallow because they limit it to race, which, but to be fair, is an ideal that they want young people to have. They want young people to have, be so insignificant and feel like the only thing valuable about them really is, number one, they can't move their world without someone else moving it for them, showing them the way, of course, but also they want them to be shallow like themselves, right? This is why they always go after young people, because they want them to be as shallow, even though they don't seem to, actually they do understand. It's a learned trait. All this racism stuff, there's certain cultures, right? Like definitely in like South America that have people of different races, darker skin tones, right? That this race stuff isn't really a conversation at all. Like they don't have that kind of conversation, right? This whole, like, definitely, like, I remember like people like Dominican in some cases, they don't have that conversation, even though they're like my skin tone, hair grows exactly like mine. They don't have this conversation of black, and because it doesn't, that's not how their culture, let's say, was raised. Not saying they're on outliers, but you get what it is that I'm saying. There's certain cultures where that's not a primary emphasis, right? So when you don't have that, of course, you lead by your accomplishments, maybe even by your own family's accomplishments and stuff like that, and taking, I guess, pride. I don't like to use that term, but whatever you want to call it, in that, as opposed to something that's superficial that you couldn't control, and that is your race. And that's what's so stupid about this entire conversation. It's like, we have this conversation about race and gender, stuff that people are born with. You know, you came out the womb that way. You didn't earn it, right? You just came out that way. I like to think that there are things that are far more interesting about you and that you could point to. And also when it comes to relatability to other people, right? Shared experiences, as opposed to, and I'm not talking about on basis of race. I'm talking about in just life, right? Where you can relate to another individual, empathize, sympathize with other individuals, and it not have to do with race. It can have a lot to do with your own accomplishments, experiences, likes, dislikes, whatever it is. They want you to be as shallow as they are, as boring as they are, where the only thing and the top thing that you ought to be defined by is a thing that you didn't earn, a thing that you couldn't possibly control. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.